Oh. Frank, are you there?
Arrivo.
Frankie? Oh,
Hey,
oh, how's
what's
it going,
happening,
man? We
man?
had the cafeteria. Bravo, you.
It's coffee
Cheers,
time.
salute. It's coffee time, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. We're
Stay out of
doing our
trouble.
best. We're doing our best.
I know, man. I know. We have to stay positive, man. We gotta. We're almost there. I think we're almost at the finish line, but anyway, it's good. It's good. So, Frank, first guest ever on the Martin's Kitchen podcast.
First
Incredible
guy,
honor.
man. And you know what? I would have been pissed off if I wasn't.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Me and Frank go way back. We've known each other since 5 or 6 years old, man. Elementary school. So, 25 years. Whew. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Anyway, so Frank, listen. First time I do this, I'm not really sure how this works, but we're just gonna talk.
Me
shoot the
neither.
shit.
Me neither. Let's just
Talk about
let's
talk
just
about
right
food. Let's
away.
get into it right away. Tell us a bit about.
Did we ever
your
know
story, how you got?
Did we ever know what we were doing? No, we just went through it, man.
No, exactly. So just
So
go
let's
with
do
it. That's it.
Let's do it. When I was hungry, at lunch. Wow, lunch. It was like 11 o'clock, 11:15. She was already starving. So I'm like, okay. So I took leftover rapini. I took we had a bit of maybe like six slices left of prosciutto cotto that we bought at Intermarché.
Nice.
Chopped it all together. I had a zucchini. I saw that was like, so I cleaned it up.
It was
I
going.
chopped it up. I put it inside the pan, fried it up. I put 4 eggs, sbattuto, salt, pepper, parsley. And I did like a frittata right in the pan. So I let it sit on low. I opened the oven and I cut the provolone. We had slices of provolone. I cut it and I put just les tranches on top, and I put it in the oven. Oh my God, it came out so good.
I'm already salivating, man. Oh, and it got nice and bubbly. The cheese, it got nice and golden.
My specialty is leftovers.
Yeah, that's a sign of a true chef, though.
I can't throw stuff out. I can't throw stuff out.
But that's a true chef, man. If you can make
when it's not good,
crazy
it's not good.
dish.
Yeah,
when it's washed out, when it's it's past its day, it's good for the garden, it's good for the compost. But right before there's a fine line. It makes for killer recipes for sure.
The way I plan out my week is like, okay, I set myself 3 meals fresh that we cook fresh, and then there's leftovers. But then with the leftovers, I'm not necessarily just saying, okay, we're just going to reheat the same thing. For example, go to Intermarché. We bought, my wife was in the mood of prosciutto cotto. Okay, perfect. We do some sandwiches. But me, in back of my head, I already knew that I was going to do something else with the prosciutto cotto. You understand?
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's how you have to.
Yeah, you got to be creative, and that's the more you do that, the more you get creative, and you get better and better, and your recipes get better, and it just grows from there.
My dad was like that. My dad, with the restaurant there.
You have to. That's the only way you stay alive.
Did you come to you never came to the Mare?
I know my parents went. My parents, my aunts and uncles went. Tara's family used to go often.
Tara's family used to come, yes. Yeah.
Very often. My wife's family was there every occasion they could. They loved it. The ambiance. You guys had live music.
It was, you know what? It wasn't a classy, fine cuisine. My dad was always like comfort, hearty food. Heavy. Like you're there for the night. You're not moving. You can't get up.
It's family. It's like at grandparents at Nana's house.
And you would get like platters like this, platters like this on the table. No, it was
what was the name again? The restaurant?
Il Mare. He started.
Okay, so anybody that's heard about Il Mare, that was Franco's. Franco's family's restaurant.
Rachel and Iberville in Le Plateau. It was. He started off because this was like one of it was his last restaurant that he opened up. He had opened up several ones. He worked at several restaurants. It was always on and off, on and off. But this was one of the last ones, and he opened it up like a regular restaurant, menu, a la carte, stuff like that. And he had 2 home stoves in the kitchen.
Wow.
With the elements,
Yeah.
Like the old school ones.
Yeah.
And dish pit sink wasn't those industrial dishwasher pits that you have there. So he started that way, and it was okay, but it wasn't rocking and rolling, So I guess that quality my dad has is that instinct for business and for creativity, and like he just jumped on the situation and basically decided to open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. The rest of the week closed. Thursday, Friday, Saturdays. Reservations only. Well, there was walk-ins, but at one point it became reservations only. And
he made it exclusive. You felt like a VIP to get in.
And it was degustation. So basically, you paid, don't quote me, I don't remember now, 60, maybe 60 to 70 bucks, okay, a person. And you got antipasti, you got bruschetta, bread, you got salad, you got 2 types of meat. One of them was usually on the charcoal. Most time was like l'agnello and capicola and stuff like that on the charcoal. Then another meat. Then he would have 2 types of pasta. And then he would have dessert, coffee, and a drink. And now the coffee, bro, was like cafetiere. So at one point during the night, everything was ready. Okay, all the back burners were filled up with cafetiere.
Wow, that's
my
crazy.
brothers were checking them. Okay, they're ready. So take them all out. My dad would ring the bell, and the waiters would come in the back, take the cafetiere, and bring it to the table.
That's nuts.
So there was all these crazy concepts. Well, crazy. I mean, crazy for someone who hasn't seen it or done it, and the people enjoyed it. So what happened was that they started booking for parties 10, 15, 30, 40 at a time. You had engagements, you had birthday parties, you had the soccer parties, the hockey parties, and the VR parties, so they were booking Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Then they started Sundays. Then they had communions, confirmation. So what happened with that was that my dad started giving out a free bike to the child who
a bicycle.
Yeah, a bicycle for the child who was doing the communion or confirmation.
Oh wow!
So they loved it. It was amazing. It was good, but the food was always heavy, comfort, big dishes.
Italian food, yeah.
Italian food, traditional Italian food, and he would create some stuff here and there, but.
Because think about it, it's obviously the food is great, but a lot of people will go back to a place for the experience, right? It's that feel. You feel like you're at home. You feel like you're around the family.
Yeah, the waiters and waitresses. It was all like a family-run business. Everybody that was working there was more or less family. Then you had the singer. You had music. So people stayed there the whole night, and
So how old were you? How old were you guys when you guys closed the restaurant or you guys stopped working there?
I think it was right after. I think it was right after high school.
Okay.
I think it was right after high school, maybe college, early college, right after high school, something like that. And I mean, at the beginning, we hated it as kids. Oh man,
because you guys played sports too. You played soccer, no?
Yeah, we're playing soccer, Sammy hockey, a little bit of hockey too. So it was for that it was hard, because my dad, that was his passion. So he's living it and he was giving it all. But us as a family doesn't mean that we're all in it, right? On the same
Yeah.
on the same
On the same level.
on the same wave, the same level, and my mom too was working very hard, and it's not her passion, so it becomes harder. It becomes harder when it's not your passion. So, and then us kids, growing up, like young teenagers, like we really didn't care for any of that. We just wanted to go out with our friends, or play PlayStation, Xbox, just chill at home. But my dad wanted us there, and he wanted us to help out and be a family thing. And and now I look back and I say, I'm glad I experienced that, because I learned a lot, in the cooking, culinary industry, and
running a business,
what to expect, the issues, the problems that come about, the success, the hard work, dedication, sacrifice, all this stuff. You
all the behind the scenes that you
all
don't
the
see.
behind the scenes, like now, we look back and we're like, oh shit, we learned a lot, and we went through a lot. So I'm very grateful for that. I would have done things a bit differently on my end, if it was my place.
Yeah, so tell us about that. So, like, for you out of high school, where was your mindset? Where were you at? Like, what's my career gonna be? Do I want to go into food like my dad?
So what happened
was your thinking?
Yeah, what happened was that we closed, and besides my dad, we were all like, it's over, it's done. We have a normal life. So what happens 2 months?
It's like when Italy won the World Cup.
Yeah,
celebration.
So 2 months in, and my dad was always on and off with the construction, renovations and restaurants. So he always had something going on.
Yeah.
But I was out of high school, and I had no job, and I was in college. So my dad's like, "Hey," he goes, "It's 2 months. You're not working." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, where are you getting your money? Like, how you paying for your stuff?" So I didn't know how to explain it to him. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want to argue with anybody. So I went on to look for a job, which that was my intention, but not right away. I wanted to relax a bit.
Yeah.
But so what happened was that I found, I went and helped out at LDV. The LDV Center, there was a cafe owned by Mike Valmora, or managed by Mike Valmora.
Yeah.
And so I started doing like coffees in the front, helping out a bit. There was Marco Lafrata working there, Hansen, Luca, this other guy, Adamo. So I was just helping out in the front, And at the same time, I went to, I don't know why, 2 jobs at the same time. I don't know what happened there, but I ended up going to
it was your dad.
Yeah, maybe. It was a restaurant, Ladora.
Okay.
I was going to school with Brittany, and she said that they were looking for somebody. So I went and speak to the dad. So I started off there as a dishwasher. So I'm like, okay, whatever, as extra cash, I don't mind, it was a weekend thing. So again, it wasn't that I was passionate about this. It's just that it was in my, I was comfortable doing
field.
It. Yeah, I was comfortable doing it, I was still going to school, but it wasn't something that.
But you had to learn a new skill or new training. You already knew.
Exactly. So it was already in, especially dishwashing, because my dad at the restaurant, us younger, we were younger, so we helped out a bit with the cooking and stuff, but not that much. We had to help out a bit more with the dish pit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I started off with the dish pit, and I finally at the restaurant, we have the
like the industrial
right? That you put in the plates, the rack, and close it down, and it starts. So I was like, oh man, I'm like, this is like high class. I'm like, this is what I'm working with. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you're okay? I said, yeah, no problem. So let's just say months go by, and I'm rocking and rolling. I'm flying. Those dishes were coming and going, and I was finishing early, same time like the cooks and
the cooks.
Usually
that's unheard of. Yeah.
So okay, I was pushing it a bit too quick there, because I wanted to go out there with the guys. But so they saw that I was, I was hard worker and stuff like that. So he goes, okay, I need you to start helping out with the cooks, the entrees. So that's how it started. I started helping out with the entrees, and then boom, let go of the dish pit, and I started helping out as a cook.
Nice.
And in the mix of all this,
So wait, Frank, before, like, what was your feeling like from when he told you I want you to start working on the entrees? What was like your feeling? Were you excited? Were you a bit nervous?
I was still like, okay, whatever. All right, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But then in the mix of all this, I left LDV because I started doing a bit more at the restaurant, and I was I was staying in contact with Danny Smiles.
Yeah,
Chef
of course.
Danny Smiles. Now, at the time, he was still like up and coming, and he was actually one of the chefs at LDV Center at the cafe where we were working.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I met him there. I met him when he was working at B-Sides and et cetera, et cetera. So I went and visited him at Commission Liqueur. He had opened up a kitchen downstairs, open till 3 a.m. till the club was open, and he was doing like, how do you say it? There was a menu like for
tapas?
After midnight. There was a menu for after midnight, so everybody coming from drinking, ready to munch on something, salty food. He had it down packed downstairs, and he had music playing. So I went and visited him, and he was DJing at the same time in his little space, off a laptop, and he was cooking, and he made me try duck poutine. He had a bunch of like crazy stuff like that,
How old was he at the time?
Late 20s.
Late, okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
So, so what I saw from him and his passion and stuff like that, I don't know, it like triggered something. I got like this crush again for culinary cooking. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I could do something cool here. This is something interesting, and fun. It looks fun too, So, so I said, you know what? College is done. I'm not going to sit around doing nothing at home, and I'm not going to go to university not knowing what I'm going into. So I went into culinary school at Pius.
Nice.
I think it was 10 months, if I'm not mistaken. 10 months.
You did it full time? So yeah, it was 10 months, I think it was.
Full time, working at the restaurant at the same time, not full time, but I was doing like 3-4 nights. And I was doing during the day at culinary school.
It's funny you bring him up.
Yeah,
Danny Smiles, because he was the same source of inspiration for me. And he was on at one point. This is maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He was on Top Chef Canada.
Yeah,
that was later on. He finished second place. I must have like binge watched the whole series in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I just, like you said, you saw like his creativity, his passion, the way he used to cook, the way he used to explain his food. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, okay, I relate a lot with this when I cook. I have the same feelings. And then I started researching culinary school, Pius, and it was a start of my drive towards school. For sure.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's it. So I did my culinary school. I'm super happy I did it. I learned a lot. At the same time, though, we always used to joke around with some of us, the guys that were working at the same time, and I mean, it's always different what you learn in school and then being in the work field, So the 100%. chef would say it too, But we learned a lot there at the culinary school at the Pius, and I met a lot of.
What was your biggest learning? What was your biggest takeaway from culinary school?
I was never into pastry and baking, so that was pretty cool. When I learned some stuff there. What else? I mean, like I said, I was already on the workforce, but like things like breakfast. Okay, like a cook's got to know how to cook breakfast, and that was the first module, one of the first modules, for health and safety, and then after.
Yeah.
So like things like that, you find it interesting, and you're like, oh shit, like you add finesse to that stuff that you take for granted, that you see every day, you know, like, oh, flip some eggs. Yeah, but it's not just flipping eggs. It's like you gotta know what you're doing, you know. So that stuff there I learned at school. You know what I mean? Like I got to understand the
almost like the science behind it.
Yeah. It's not just flipping eggs, you know. It's not just making hash browns. It's not just or it's not just making brodo, you know, like beef stock, like, you know, it's there's a lot more to it.
And
you know?
My takeaway, honestly,
it's not just buying commercial stuff at the grocery store and putting it in hot water, and there you have your, you know, like there's
no powder, exactly.
Exactly.
Flavoring.
So for that's really that was really cool. And I met some cool chefs. Chef Mario was one of them. He was fantastic. I made some friends there that are still in the culinary in the cooking industry. Jonathan Agnello.
Yeah, of course,
he's doing very well as well. So, and then, funny enough, the way I am, 2 months before I graduate, I get this thing in my head saying I can't do this for the rest of my life. This is just not for me. So I'm like all over the place, but I was one never to quit. So I finished it all, which was no problem for me. I did well. I graduated from there, and I wanted to, because what's good about culinary school is that you get your diploma, and with your diploma, you could go work hospitals, hotels, government places. It's easier, and that's what they look for, is that diploma, that piece of paper. As good as you could be, they look for that, you know. So I'm happy I did it, and I'm happy I graduate. I always have that as well. And
you also, Frank, you have a skill. You have that skill for life. Like you'll never be stranded in a kitchen. You know, obviously you get that from experience, not only school, but I think, like you said before, when you're doing an egg, you're just frying an egg. When you know the basic techniques of meat, fish, egg, whatever it is, you know how to use that technique with anything else that you make, right?
Yeah, like I would recommend it. Like I would recommend it also to someone who's not sure what they're doing, right? Like if they have time, or they want to start a new hobby, or I think it's great. I think it's good. I think it's fantastic to know how to cook. And I'm not saying you got to be a chef, but to know how to cook is great. I feel like they should be teaching that in school, but that's a whole difference.
Well, but remember, we had home ec. Remember the home ec?
Yeah, but who the hell took that serious?
Used to make French toast. Used to make.
Yeah.
No, but
and our
it's
home
true.
ec teacher wasn't really a chef, you know. So
it's not only cooking though. You don't only learn cooking, but it's just having the discipline and the behaviors. To follow a recipe, even to be organized, to be clean. Like I noticed for myself before going to culinary school, my wife still disagrees. She still thinks I'm a disaster in the kitchen.
That cross contamination. How's it looking?
Oh, we're good. For that, we're good. We're good. I got the spray. I got the disinfectant. We're good. No, but it's true, because before going, you know how our minds are. We're creative, so we want to do everything at once. We're all over the place. But then going to school, you're like, no, mise en place, mise en place is the most important thing. You're not going to be midway in a recipe. You have your meat on the stove, and then, oh, I forgot to chop my onions. I forgot to chop whatever it is. You can't start running around. So,
but there is that discussion. There is that that debate that there's clean cooks, organized cooks, and messy cooks.
For sure, yeah.
So in the sense that type that I cook and I kind of clean as I go.
Yeah.
I prep, I clean as I go. You know, I do things like, but there's cooks that it's like a fiesta. It's like a party. It's all out. It's everything's flying. My dad's like that, you know, and he needs like 3 people next to him just helping him out. You know. What are you?
My dad's the same way. I would say I'm in between. I'm getting better, but you know why? Because I'm very impulsive. So if it could be, let's say 4:30. I look at my fridge or pantry. I think of something. And I know it's going to be complicated. I know it might take an hour and a half. I want to make homemade pasta. I want to make this, that. because I have it in my head, I have to make it.
Yeah.
So we might eat at 8 o'clock or 8:30.
Yeah.
And those are the times where I'm throwing stuff in the sink and it piles up because I want to go, I want to eat.
Yeah,
But
my
if I take,
wife's same thing.
if I take the time to organize my
then you're
meal,
good.
I'm golden. But I'm very impulsive like that.
Yeah. And I think that's probably one of the skills or the qualities that that I don't have. I'm not impulsive. I don't create stuff on the spot, or like you said, 8 o'clock at night you think of something, so I think that's one of the reasons that I didn't continue in this trade, in this
Well, yeah, tell us. So how long were you at that restaurant? You said you made your way to entree.
Yeah, exactly. So after cooking school, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I can't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. I can't, because maybe it was also because growing up, I was in it, not by choice. Then after, through high school, college too, I was working like a lot at the restaurant. And again, it wasn't that I necessarily was passionate about. It's just like, it's something that came natural and I was good at, I was comfortable at. So I think
it was the wrong timing, maybe.
I think I was just like over it. I was fed up. I got turned off. It was just too much, like going to school all day and then cooking at night, like another 8-hour shift, a 4-hour shift, 6 hours. For me, it was like, it was too much, So I'm like,
there was no balance.
Yeah, I think that's what happened as well. So I'm like, you know what? I want to go into something else. So I tried going into something else, but I continued working at the restaurant. I stayed at the restaurant for about 8 years. Aladora, and I worked my way up. At one point, I was one of the head cooks. I was calling out orders, which looking back now was pretty cool. Like starting from the dish pit, and I was like one of the main cooks. I was helping the chef during the day. It was.
You did the traditional way. You worked your ranks in the kitchen.
I really did, and I was
most chefs do it.
I was offered the chef role, the chef job, while the chef was away. He was away several times. He got hurt, vacation, some issues like that, and he had to step out for like weeks and a month. And I was approached, to take his role, and I never really did. I kind of just said, I'll help out as much as I can, but I don't want that role, I was always afraid
that responsibility.
of it. Exactly. So I left the restaurant
because role. You're not just managing the food coming out of the kitchen. You're managing personalities, people. You're dealing with people.
So a lot of people, I'm saying it right now, a lot of people misuse the word chef.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. A cook is what I was. Okay. I'm a cook. I was a cook. I worked at a restaurant. A chef was my boss. He was the kitchen's boss. He controlled the kitchen. He knew what was coming in, what was coming out, the food that had to be bought, the food that had to be passed. He was interacting with the owner. They decided the menu. They decided the recipes, so on and so forth. They have lots of experience. So that's a chef. A cook is what we cook at home. I worked at the restaurant. I was a cook, so on and so forth.
Same. Yeah, I agree 100%.
So I think that word is misused a lot.
A lot. It's losing almost its value, right?
Yeah. Because a chef.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I call myself a cook the same. Yeah, I started my own catering, my own page, but I'm still a cook. I didn't work in a restaurant. I didn't do my time. I didn't, like you said, place the orders. Yeah, myself, I go get my own food and do my menus. But again, you put in those 20, 30 years of experience, and then I feel like.
And they told us that in cooking school. I don't know if they told you that in culinary school.
What's that?
We spoke about that. Yeah, we spoke about that.
Yeah. And the first thing I remember, our first class, is our teacher, Richard LaBelle, awesome guy, man. He told us straight up, he's like, listen, a lot of students I see come here, we get every semester, kids come in, and they think it's like what they see on TV. Celebrity chef, you're going to be on TV. They don't see behind the scenes, the work that goes in. the amount of hours you put in just to put up a recipe or to make, like you said, a stock, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So get ready to work your ass off.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids, like 2-3 months in, it wasn't what they expected, and they ditched.
Yeah.
They took off. Half the class by the end of the year was I dropped out. So that's one thing too today, because of, it's great. We were talking about this last time. Like, cooking right now is huge. Chefs, there's TV shows, a lot of male chefs, right? Before, when you were growing up, it was a lot of the women were cooking, right? So now you see this transition. They're being, celebrities and all that. So that's all you see. 24/7, you're seeing the final product of the dish.
Yeah.
You're seeing them doing their reality shows.
Yeah.
But that's not what cooking is. It's not exactly that. It's the pain, the sweat, the tears. I'm talking about like in a restaurant environment. In a hotel, in hospitals.
Yeah.
You're doing volume. You're pumping out food.
Yeah.
You're on your feet all day long. Physically, mentally, it's crazy. It's draining. But
because
people do because they love it. Yeah.
You know what happens that where it could be tough sometimes is that, like, what you're doing, yourself is amazing. Creativity, everybody's seeing your passion, and they feel it, they see it, and they're trying it at home. Thing is that sometimes you'll have cooks cooking at a restaurant or a certain place that they're not necessarily using their creativity. They're just following what has to be done, So that could be a bit difficult for a young, maybe passionate cook, or who feels restricted, who feels tied down, and it's like, oh, it's boring, it's the same stuff over and over again, just pump up high volume, or it's always the same menu and stuff like that. But I think I'm not saying that it's like you should do that for the rest of your life. No, I'm not saying that. Like, if you're ambitious and you want to do more, go for it, do it. But I think it's also important to go through it a bit and see what it is, and see, the back end of it, the work that it takes, because it's not all glamorous, and you got to work to get there. That's it. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. So if if you're at a restaurant, or if you're trying out a restaurant for a summer or two, and it's like it's you feel that it's boring, or that it's always the same thing, it's repetitive, it's fine. Don't do it for the rest of your life. It's fine, but it's okay that you're tasting it, that you're trying it out,
And maybe if they don't like that scenario, it doesn't mean all the restaurants are like that, right? There's other chefs, owners that want the cooks to be creative, right?
So
and
I think
menus.
I think that's something that I regret on my end, is that I didn't try enough different.
It's not too late, man. It's never too late.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, man. It depends the taste that you get of it. The timing of it. Timing is huge.
Timing. Yeah.
And what do you want to get from it? You should never listen to, get influenced by other people's opinions saying you should do this. Do this.
Yeah.
Take it for sure with a grain of salt. And if it's really what you want to do, go for it. But never feel forced, obliged. I know it's tough to say no to our parents, but at a certain age, you got to stand up and say, listen, this is what I see myself doing. This is what I want to do. And you go for it, And that was my biggest problem at first. I was at university. I was in the bank, working at the bank, doing my finance courses. I couldn't stand it. I could not stand sitting.
But who pushed you? Who kept pushing you, man?
You're one of them. Thank you, buddy. Yeah, exactly. You, my wife now, my family, brothers, my parents at first, it was tough.
No,
my parents at first, it was. You invested the time in the bank,
but also
time at school.
Steve, not to defend them completely. It was a bit harder. It's always hard. It's always difficult. Now there's a lot of competition, whatever. But like what you're doing now, someone didn't really do back then. They weren't able to do it back then.
Yeah, it's true.
So your parents didn't really, like, you had this in mind. You saw this, but they couldn't see it. They couldn't understand it. So it's a bit harder for them to give you the complete blessing and say, yeah, this is an amazing idea. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's a bit harder for them.
Yeah.
And
I think that in their head they picture the typical, the restaurant environment or a catering environment. So even myself at first when I started, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. I just knew I loved to cook. I could spend hours and hours in the kitchen. So,
yeah,
and it could change. I could be doing something now, but in a couple months,
yeah,
in a year or two, things might change, opportunities might come up. So you have to be open to different options all the time, right? You never want to stay in one place. If you're not growing, try to find
yeah,
a different
definitely,
avenue
definitely. Yeah, you took
to
the
grow.
words out of my mouth, exactly, and I think that's what was happening with me. You know, like I wasn't necessarily growing, and I was stuck, but I was comfortable, and I'm one who doesn't like
Yeah,
that much change at the same time, so it was a bad mix of things, you know.
yeah, yeah. Cool,
But
man. So
I,
do you?
what I miss about it, is the adrenaline, you know, and the rush, and that teamwork, that bond that you create with the guys in the kitchen, you know, and little girls, you know. Nowadays, there's a lot of
Yeah.
cooks.
Do
Uh,
you see yourself ever going back if an opportunity comes up?
$1 million question. Uh, Honestly, yes, but I guess because of the experience that I had, I would have to. How can I say this? It would really have to be worthwhile for me to jump back in.
On your terms, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. You know, like
Yeah.
I have some ideas in back of my head, and I always think of stuff uh, in that industry. But I'm not. I'm a different type of like cook than you and let's say the chefs out there. Let's say Danny Smiles and uh, you know you Culinary too.
Yeah.
He's been
Yeah.
cooking a lot. I I'm not 24/7. I don't eat, sleep, dream of food. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. But
Yeah, for sure.
what I do love, the passion I have about it, is everything around it. So from the ambiance to the culture to the friends, the family, the
The
serving,
customers.
the serving, the customers, the relationships, the teamwork in the kitchen, the satisfaction of a final product. Creating something out of nothing. Like we were talking about leftovers. Like you're creating something out of
Yeah.
leftovers.
Yeah.
Cooking with some music on. Like I just love that kind of stuff. So if I could blend that to into something, maybe that would work out for me, because I don't know, that's the way I am. That's the type of cook that I am. I don't see myself being super excited to wake up at 6 a.m. to say that I gotta go cook the sauce for, because we have like 100 people tonight, like it's just, what I'm
I
trying to
got
say,
you.
like that's
I got you.
because I went through
I
that.
would,
And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I would picture you, let's say more, let's say front of house, managing, let's say your
Yes.
team, whether you have
Yeah.
wait staff,
Yeah,
customers,
like
taking care of your,
I
for
don't mind
that.
touching the kitchen too, but maybe
Yeah.
a bit on and a bit off, and I
Yeah.
think that's what Chef Danny Smiles, that's what got me, what sparked that initial passion. I think it was that, because he was doing both, and he was like a people's person, like a fantastic people's person,
Yeah.
and he was a great cook. He loved music. We were drinking, like it was everything.
Everything together.
And
Yeah.
that's what got me going. So
Yeah. That's good
that's
though. That's
my
good.
style. Yeah.
I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited. I'm thinking of ideas too
Yeah.
to
So
collab together.
basically I would need a cook like you by my side.
Perfect. Perfect. Done. We'll
Yeah.
have our own cooking show, man. No, but
Yeah.
that's good. And for a couple questions I want to ask you before we go.
Yeah.
Right now, especially now during COVID, it's a crazy
Yeah.
time. Um, I've been sharing on my page recently, especially to support our local markets, our local stores, the smaller
Definitely.
guys. I'm not talking about the big box stores. Um, these guys are working night and day to stock the shelves to get the freshest produce for us. So give me a couple places that, let's say, that you've been going to, that you support right now.
Um, we've been going to United.
Yeah.
We went already. Good. 3-4 times. There's actually a place near my house. I forgot the name now. I would have to get back to you on that. I think it's important because I also feel that's the route we're going towards. I think it's going to be important again to keep these local stores up and running, fresh stuff. You know where it's coming from. You're giving back to the community. Like we were talking about last time too, like even the butchers, you know, you know most of the time where the meat's coming from, you know, like if you're going to a good butcher and you trust them, you know, you don't mind spending that extra buck or two and getting quality stuff, you know, and fresh stuff. And I mean, I know it gets hard sometimes because we're in a fast-paced world. Everything to be you know, low cost, easy to get to. It's just, I don't know.
I think that's what the key thing, especially with the markets, like you said, is getting the product. Might have been harder before, but now what you're seeing, like the perfect storm with this pandemic, a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of startups are starting these ideas of just delivering market fresh stuff to your door. So you know, a lot of times during these crazy pandemics, great ideas come to life, and that's one of them, I think, because they're gonna shed much more light on these markets to keep them running. They've been around for generations, some of them, right? They got it from their great grandparents that started the market. So and they're basically using this to feed their families, and they're feeding us, right? So it's a nice, I guess,
you know,
cycle.
Another thing now is that we have time on our hands, right?
For
the most part, we have time on our hands. So it's very different than when everything was up and running at the norm. It was like fast-paced, you don't make time. My wife, like, she got me into all this stuff, like going on a market. Okay, I hadn't gone in a very long time, and I started going with her, and it's like fantastic. It's amazing, from the local fresh produce that there is to the restaurants, to just the whole experience there, and you make time for it, you know. So I think that's
because now we have to. It's our health. So now we're making a priority. Before, we didn't think about our health. We're just going. It doesn't matter. Now our health is priority, and that's how it always should be. So we're being careful. We're buying what we should buy. So I think, obviously, we don't want to be to an extreme, but we just have to be careful of where we go, how we do things, stay clean, and I think it's gonna help the situation that much more.
Definitely.
Awesome, Frank. So before we go, last one for you. So on the topic of quarantine, what would be, let's say, your go-to dish or dishes that you like to make during this time? Something that's easy, that somebody could make. Doesn't have to be too sophisticated. What would you recommend that they making?
Like I was saying, I'm a pretty simple cook. If you
that's good though. That's good. So I like simple.
What I took from cooking school. I remember Chef Mario telling me all the time. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many ingredients are in there. The more, sometimes it's not. It gets too complicated. It gets too mixed up. You don't know what you're tasting anymore. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Stick to you know, a small amount of ingredients and herbs, spices, whatever, and you'll taste it. You know. Anyways, that being said, I love cooking sandwiches, making sandwiches. I love cooking. We started doing pizzas now.
Nice.
On that rock, you know, we have like a stone. I'm gonna try. I've tried it in the oven past 2-3 times. This weekend I'm gonna try it on the barbecue.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
The barbecue. Yeah. Get that really hot, piping hot.
700-800 degrees.
So I love doing salads, you know, different salads. What else? I don't know, simple dishes, you know, pasta, obviously. I love making pasta. Fresh. I just started making fresh pasta. Um, so that's another thing with this whole stuff that we're going through. It brings you back down to like,
yeah,
it grounds you, back to basics
yeah.
and
It
and
forces you
start doing things that you don't
to
really.
work on your skills and see what you can do. And
Yeah,
we have the, like you said, we have the time to do it. So take advantage of it in a way,
yeah,
and work and practice and get it done right. Things
yeah.
that you never had the time to do before, try it
Yeah.
now. Make the pasta, make the homemade pizza, and you'll see
Yeah.
how fulfilling it is, right, when you do it.
So
And
this
yeah,
week, I'll tell you a little sandwich that I did. So
oh
I had leftover, those buns from l'Italiano.
yes,
You know what I'm talking about?
yes,
Okay.
Villaggio.
Yeah. Okay. I think it was Velasco. Yeah. So it's not the round buns, but the sausage buns.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
So
yes. Almost, it looks like a ciabatta style.
yeah. So I had like a few leftover. Okay. So we bought prosciutto cotto.
You love prosciutto cotto.
We because for my wife, she was in the mood, so I'm like, okay, no problem. Got some Swiss cheese.
Yeah.
I took out some bacon. I cooked my bacon. So first of all, I love cooking my bacon in the oven, pulling it out, letting it sit on Scott towel,
Yeah.
let the oil come out, and then putting in again another like minute or two in the oven, and it gets nice
Yes,
and
nice
crispy.
and crispy.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I got bacon.
One little side note. Sorry. The bacon grease, if you can, try to keep it and fry up potatoes, fry up
Yes,
mush,
yeah,
whatever you
yeah,
want.
yeah,
It's awesome.
yeah. Good idea.
Okay, go.
Exactly.
Bacon and listen.
So we had prosciutto cotto, Swiss cheese, bacon. I sliced up some pickles. There were some whole pickles. Sliced them up. What else was there? Mustard. Put in the bread, and I pressed it. Nice little Cubano style.
I was gonna say, you read my mind. I was gonna say
Another
Italian.
guy that's pretty cool is John Falbo. He has a show.
The chef show.
The chef show, exactly. So he's a cool example because he's not necessarily a chef.
No.
But he loves it.
He's a movie director, writer, producer.
But he loves it. He loves the whole,
yeah.
Which I don't think he sees himself being a chef all of his career, but he loves it. So there's a different love, and I think that's what I have. I have a different love.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good.
So,
it still involves food.
So that was my Cubano, man.
The Italian Cubano, Italiano.
Yeah.
Panina. That's tasty, man. I'm already, like I said, talking about food. I could talk about food for days and days. Never get fed up of talking about it. Yeah. Frank, I want to thank you, man. First episode ever on Martelli's Kitchen.
Thank you. Hey, many more to come. I mean,
yeah, no, definitely. Oh, quickly before we go, tell me about the ST3 on your cap. What is that?
ST3, man, Stronger Together. Basically, it was my little brother Sammy, kind of started a brand when I was hospitalized about 2 years ago, and symbol of Stronger Together. And you got us three brothers, but it could correlate with anything in life. We're always stronger together, and funny enough, you've been seeing it on TV, Stronger Together on CTV and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's hilarious.
Did you guys trademark it? Patent that shit?
Well, we're good. We're rich. We have enough money. We don't need stuff like that.
Remember how much you donated when we used to go out? Man, we donated all kinds. We're good.
But yes, Stronger Together, man. It's like what we're doing right now is already an example of Stronger Together.
Yes.
So I love it.
Yeah, you're right.
I stand for it, and I believe in it. That's what it is. ST3, man.
Beautiful, man.
My brother will be coming out with some more gear soon, so that'll be cool.
Awesome, man. Let us know. We'll have you guys, actually, if we can, when this stuff is over, have you, the three brothers on. It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. We got some stories from when we were working at the restaurant.
Yeah,
my
man.
dad's place.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, Frank. Thank you again, guys. Franco Falbo,
Thank you.
a longtime friend, cook, food lover, and that's it, man. Thank you for sharing, man. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Hopefully, we can inspire others. We're looking to go in the field.
Hey, it ain't easy, but if you love it, go for it.
100%, 100%, bud.
Thank you, guys. Take it easy. Ciao.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button right here to stay up to date with the Knifed Up podcast. Thanks for your support. Until next time. See ya.